My name is Stephen Hart. I'm Executive Director of the Soy Aquaculture Alliance based out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and I was born and raised in Toledo, Ohio. I had just taken an aquaculture course as an undergrad and immediately just fell in love with it. As I got into graduate school, I really started to look at nutrition as my area of interest and working with fish and figuring out how are we going to overcome the limited resources that we have globally. So it's really groundbreaking research working with soybean meal and feeding those to fish. So that was kind of my big moment where I realized this is something I was really interested in pursuing long term. Global demand for food is going to increase and we're going to need a lot more protein for two reasons. One, because population growth, but two, because we see a very large growing middle class. Seafood is kind of seen as a premium protein, and as people move into that middle class, they really start to demand even more of that premium protein. But in addition to that, when we look at dwindling resources and the higher demand on those resources, fish really becomes favorable because of the ability to convert feed. And then when we start looking at trade, this can become really critical. Soybeans are already the US's #1 traded ag product. And we're seeing a high demand for soy going into aqua feeds. There's so much seafood demand going on in Asia that we're really going to start to see less and less seafood available in the US. So there are many different ways to farm fish. The really old traditional way is pond production. That developed thousands and thousands of years ago in China. We see other types of production practices. If we go out to the west, we start to see a lot of river production. The farmers out there take primarily rainbow trout and they grow them in these long tanks that are called raceways. One new thing that's really coming up over the last about 10 to 20 years is indoor production. And we're seeing a lot of these here in the US where the farmers are actually moving the fish inside barns and growing them in tanks. Well, just like agriculture, there are a lot of jobs within the aquaculture industry as well. There are the on-farm jobs that are kind of similar to what you'd expect to see in agriculture. But in addition to that, there are numerous other careers. You can work nutrition, you can work finance, you can work through a lot of the different supply industries that give equipment, so engineering, all different types of areas. This is a global industry. Seafood is one of the largest traded commodities, and as kids are interested in this and maybe want to get into global careers, marketing seafood is really an area that could be of great interest. 90% of the seafood coming to the US is imported. We also export a lot of seafood, so getting involved working for those distribution companies and getting out there, you're going to have some real opportunities to get international exposure and experience. So some core curriculum that is really going to be required for anybody who gets involved in this industry is really the science and math. I cannot stress that enough. Those types of classes really strengthened me and made me able to go into this field. And while they're not necessarily the most exciting classes to take, they're really going to be the foundation for your career. So I would highly recommend that if this is something that you're interested in, really explore those sciences and maths, because those are going to be the curriculum that give you the strongest foundation for your future.